everybody. I'm Kelly Ellers,
I'm Jeffrey Lennon.
and this is Volume Up by the Tees.
At Amika, their products have always been salon raised and stylist approved. Now, you can get your expert hands on their new launch earlier than ever with Amika Backrooms. In this exclusive community, stylists get early access to lab samples so you can help test, shape, and perfect what comes next. Sign up to get access to Amika Backrooms at amikabackrooms.com.
We're here, Jeff. How was your fourth?
So good. Wholesome, East Coastern.
We're dressed like it. Look, we're still very 250
patriotic.
year. Yeah.
America, USA, as they say.
Okay, you were where again?
I was on the East Coast.
Love.
Yes, Maryland. In the thick of
Doesn't get
the
more
swampy
Blech.
heat. Like heat warning. Like people are
Like,
heat
cover.
domes and all of that stuff. Plus humidity, which is something that I conveniently forgot how to deal with. Because California, we just don't
you
have it.
did.
And then
Poor
you go
you.
back and it's brutal. I'm
It's
saying
awful.
nothing revolutionary to people that live in
No.
places where it's there. I forget. I don't know.
You know what I know? Every fourth, I want to make that goddamn flag cake.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about with the
That's a classic.
blueberries
Yeah,
and the
of course.
strawberries.
Strawberries and
I'm not saying I do,
yeah,
but
but you
I
want to.
love
You get the
to see it.
inclination.
I
Of course.
love
It's
to see it.
a good old classic. As long as I have like ice cream and a sparkler, I'm set.
Okay, I'd like to see you trancing around with a sparkler. I bet
I
you get
mean,
after
no,
it.
we're not moving very
Oh, we're
far because I
not.
don't
We're
want
not
to.
moving.
No,
I'm
no.
moving and
Are
waving and
you?
waving. Oh God,
I'm
yeah.
freaked out, but I'm like captivated. You
You're
know what I
like
mean? Like
happy
like this
for,
could burn my whole hand off at
but
any
we're having
moment.
fun. But we're having
Exactly.
fun.
Exactly. Do my kids get to touch them? Absolutely not.
That
No,
was a
no, no.
question because why are the ends of a sparkler steel?
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
category reinvention, anyone?
I was gonna say something that's prime for some disruption.
Sparkler.
That whole fucking thing. The PR on that, bad, bad, bad. You know?
Here's the thing too, is like, do we have biodegradable fireworks yet?
I don't.
Damn
Yeah.
it. I just gave somebody a great
Well, but that's why
idea.
people are doing all of those like drone shows and things, which are
Yeah.
so
Bleh, that doesn't count.
they're so sad. Like even if they're the really exciting ones, it's still like, oh, it's a bunch of drones. I don't know. I'm not
It's too
into it.
technologically, you're just like, oh, great, a robot's flying over me.
There's no danger. I mean, there
Like,
is danger in that they could fall from the sky on you, and that would not be fun, I suppose. So similar level of danger, really, if you think about it, depending on
yeah.
how high.
And possibly worse for the Earth if like
Possibly.
5,000 drones go. We
Yes.
did it. We
Um,
did it.
But
Okay.
yeah, so are you, not that we're going to report this to the authorities, anybody listening to this, but
Yeah.
are you launching off any fireworks?
Yes, my husband's a total pyro.
Mm-hmm.
So,
See, I feel like that's
la
what really it's about. It's about embracing.
it is.
Hmm.
It's like the scariness of like, could
Oh
something
yeah.
blow up? Like, could it go sideways? I
Hmm.
am very uncomfortable with it.
Risk averse, which most of us should be, I think. Like it's best not
I
to
mean,
be
I love a
too
risk, but I don't love a risk where there's like
bodily
flammable
harm.
like things.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
anyway,
I
so it was
do.
good. We did it. We checked off
Hmm.
another 4th of July. Happy
Hmm.
250th
Did you?
America.
Yeah. You did it. You
I
made
did
it.
it. I did it. You made it. Good job. You're
Yeah.
somehow still here.
Isn't it?
Anyway,
Isn't it?
we won't go down
Hmm.
that road. Anyhow,
Hmm. Hmm. So something that's come up a couple of times on this pod and is obviously circulating around the internet is about hair washing. So we
yeah,
talk about this, I think, at length,
we
and
do.
it's relevant because pros have a lot of opinions. So I was most recently at Camp Pine in Petaluma, California, with Barb Thompson, Kylie Heath. They were talking a lot about their frustrations that clients still are coming in, whether they are celebrity or not, with their hair fully unwashed for multiple days, product out the ends, and just having the thought that that's what they should do and that it's better, in fact. And the two of them
Hmm.
independently were just like, I wish people would stop because that's what product is for. And so, really, this is, I think, the call to arms. Like we got to do better by clients. They got to know that they need to
Okay.
wash their hair, right?
Yeah,
And
because
then
I
this
don't.
brings me to the next part,
I'm
which is
thinking, what's
how
coming?
often? How often should we? And it's definitely depends.
Hmm.
But most people more than once a week, which is I think where the average has moved to, maybe.
Yeah.
Where are you these days in your hair washing journey?
Well, I hate washing my hair.
Hmm.
And I
Hmm.
hate drying my hair. It's like a whole hour long situation.
Hmm.
And so I do it as little as possible.
Hmm.
I mean, once every 5 days,
That's
probably,
that I feel
or
like that's
six,
not.
like, I don't know,
Oh,
five or something. I don't know.
yeah, land on
It
five.
depends
Five
on
seems.
it depends on the style I have. So I like to go
Hmm.
through this whole process. It's like first it's smooth, then it's a little messy, then
Hmm.
I ringlet curl it so it's like crazy line. Then I
Hmm.
do it up, and then
Hmm.
it's run its course.
Then it must be washed. See,
It's run
but
its
this
course.
sounds like you've figured it out, and
Yeah,
we are encouraging others to do the same. I think
it's formulaic, yes. But
it
I
just
did not
seems.
know. I always come to my hairdresser with the worst condition of my hair. It's like day 7, and I'm like, fix it. Now I'm gonna
And
have
the
to
first thing
wash
they
it.
do, shampoo, right? I mean, like that's what they got to do. They got to get that
Yeah,
stuff out.
that's really interesting.
Yeah, it was so funny because it was the two of them, and we were among obviously a bunch of pros, and really that is what continues to be the case that people
Huh.
just mistakenly think
Yeah, we need to
dirty is
be
better for styling and or the whole thing. And that's really again what product is for. I'm curious though. So listeners,
PSA.
how many of your clients are? Is it like the majority? Like 9 out of 10 are coming and it's dirty hair, or
Yeah,
is it
it's
like
gotta be.
fewer? I want to know. So let us know. Get in our DMs, send us an email, do those things, please, because we got to figure this out, I think.
PSA.
Hmm.
And now getting into our series that we introduced last week, it's week number 2. Welcome to the fine print, the conversations women are actually having once the Zoom ends, the main Slack thread goes quiet, and everyone stops pretending everything's fine. Each week, we're breaking down a story from culture, business, beauty, or the workplace that says a lot more than the headline itself. We'll talk about the power dynamics, the double standards, the leadership lessons, and the things ambitious women are literally still navigating every single day. Because even though the workplace has evolved, some things surprisingly or not surprisingly haven't changed at all. Jeff, I've got one for you here. So, Business Insider wrote an article about the hidden cost of empathy at work. And listen to this stat. It says white collar women spend a full workday a week as their co-workers therapist.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
So like when are we doing that other work, ladies, at night, on the weekends? Because we had to counsel our coworkers.
mhm.
There is just such an emotional labor tax, right, on women. What do you
It's
think about that
crazy.
headline?
I mean, having, I feel, I feel like it's not just white collar. I
Yes,
think
agreed.
unfortunately it's literally everywhere. I know so many women who make themselves available in this way, and obviously pros that are listening to this pod who are default therapists, even though they're of course not, and some of them like
Totally.
that and motivates them and excites them, and others it's entirely draining and scary and all of those things. It's such a shame that we haven't figured it out in this country, sort of how to really deal with the realities of work. And yeah, it's entirely unfair that it's falling to women, and as it often does, that they have to
Yes.
figure this out for everybody else. Like, what the fuck?
What the actual fuck? I mean, the once someone quoted said on the surface, it looked like I was thriving because I was like
Hmm.
the connector, like I'm the one everybody goes to. But behind the scenes, nobody was like, do you want this role?
Right. I mean, in particular, this article talking about this poor woman who
Yeah.
became the office's therapist.
Keeper.
Yeah, like without any sort of regard for her, is that what she wanted? And I mean, again, the that hidden cost of how much it impacts all of
Yes.
the other stuff that she's doing, whether at work or at home. Because as you said, like if you can't get stuff done, then you push it off to. I mean, it's just and this cycle continues and over and.
We're burnt out. We don't need to be the keeper of everyone's emotions, right? We don't always need to control or think we have to control the temperature of the room because, again, a full workday a week as their coworkers therapist. And if you are the coworker listening to this that
Why
needs
are you
said
doing
therapy,
it? Leave them
do it
alone.
later.
Get a
Leave
real
them alone.
therapist.
Yeah, get a professional because
Mhm.
the other ladies ain't got time for it.
No, I mean, and in this case, it sounds like, I mean, the biggest example in this piece is from the UK, where again they've
Yeah.
got the National Health Service. Like, I'm sure they can access mental health counseling,
Yes.
etc. Where it's again a little bit scattershot here in the States. So they got really no
Sure is.
excuse. Leave your coworker the fuck alone. She's got enough on her
Call the
plate.
number. Go to the website. Let that girl let that girl get out at 5. She got stuff to do.
Yes, yes, and don't we all? He's got a lot.
Speaking of speaking of stuff to do.
Mm, that's a beautiful transition
Hmm.
into a segment that you all know, Obsessed or Over It, where we react to product, services, trends, and decide if they're a hit or if they're a miss. We're breaking down what's worth the hype and what isn't. You know, a lot of times it's what isn't. Giving your honest, giving you our honest takes along the way. Follow along, checking the show notes, going to our Instagram, all of the things. First up, faux freckles.
Yeah.
Obviously not a new trend,
No.
but it's back in a big way because it's summer. People are really
Want to
enjoying.
feel like they're part
Uh-huh.
of it. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Particularly with tools and new cosmetic products that are achieving said look.
Hmm.
Where do you stand on the fake freckle of it
Well,
all?
I have real freckles.
Yes. Yes.
And
So,
so I probably cover them up with makeup, but if you did see me, you would see, and I have freckles, and I think it's adorable. And let me just tell you this real life story. My little
mhm,
nephew was over, and he's a little towhead blonde, curly hair,
mhm.
the cutest you'd ever see. And he had a little band of cute little freckles, and I was like, oh, dear, those are so cute. And I thought to myself, because I'm beauty obsessed, I thought,
Mhm.
did somebody put those on him?
Mm. His are surely fake. They're that good.
Are those
Um,
fake? Yeah.
I mean,
What I'm obsessed. What about you?
I'm obsessed as well. I really,
Yes.
really like the look. I think it
Lovely.
works for almost everybody. The permanent route freaks me out a little bit.
Oh
Like that.
yeah. You can't do
But
that.
no, but I
We're
mean,
not doing that.
plenty of people are,
Hmm.
and documenting that journey online, and that's wild. But no, I really do like the look, and particularly with it being fake and not harmful to your skin and all of those things. Like,
Yeah.
love to
Pop
see
some
it.
on.
Yeah, have some fun.
Little sun
Um,
kiss.
what I think is especially fun is because, again, this is not a sports podcast, and I'm not really into
You,
sports,
yeah.
as we've
Mm-mm.
established, but the World Cup ongoing.
Hmm.
It's happening. And I'm
Keeps
getting,
happening.
it keeps happening, turns out. I've been getting targeted ads for the sparkle
Yeah, you have.
freckles
Yes, you have. That's squarely in your
for
algo. Yeah.
Mexico, to be clear. Not
Wow,
only
they
they have
clocked
them
you
in
double clocked.
all different country assortments. So you can get the various colors and whatever. Um, but yeah, I'm not going to do it, but I do like the look of it. It's fun. I think, yeah. So anyway, obsessed. We're both obsessed, it turns out.
Yes.
All right, next up, lip stains.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
I mean, I can't, I just, I have a hard time with lip color.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Uh-huh.
I feel like I've always been a lip gloss girl, and
Hmm.
now I need to inject some color. And as I am now, but look at, I'm holding my clear Laneige one. I actually have both of them and a
Hmm.
lipstick
Hmm.
here. So
Hmm.
anyway, it's fine if you can do it and commit to it. If you found your color and you want to commit to it, it's great. Do it. I'm
Okay.
not into it, but do it.
So
I,
you're in this binary over it, it
I
seems.
am. I'm gonna
Okay.
reapply while you talk.
I mean, I'm of the, I don't know, like I like the look that I'm seeing online. So I'm
Yeah, it
obsessed
looks
from like
great.
the purely aesthetic, not
Mhm.
practical, zero experience
It's
point of
pretty.
view. But it's a good
Hmm.
look.
It's a
So
good look.
I'll come down with I'm obsessed with it. You're over it.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, that's how it should be. Last but not least, Brinity.
Hmm.
Brinity? Because it's Bryce, right? So how does that work? Brinity because
Brennan.
Trinity. I mean, yeah, yeah,
Brian.
yeah.
Yeah.
So everybody's favorite couple, it seems, but
Yes.
maybe not. From Love Island, USA. Where are you coming down on this couple?
Well, I don't watch Love Island, but
No.
I wish them well.
So you're not saying you're over it. but you're
No,
also
I
not
mean, if
obsessed.
they're happy, then I just be happy. I mean, I had positive vibes for Brinity. Brinity.
Yeah. I mean,
Brinity.
people are saying maybe
What's the
it's not
background? Yeah, like
it's
what is
this
it?
that they're maybe pretending at a romance.
Yeah.
I mean, so I
Yeah.
will say, having not like religiously watched, the issue here is that it seems to be coming together very quickly. So
Yeah.
the other thing that I think the stakes involved is that Bryce is like sort of like platonically, but maybe
Huh?
not
Hmm.
romantically involved with a guy on the show.
On the show? Oh,
Yes.
well,
Well, so this is
okay.
where all of those memes are coming from that,
Yeah.
we even posted about, in terms of the girth check, etc. The sort of like not
What?
safe. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
We've been
Yeah.
saying some provocative words lately on the pod.
Sorry, gang. It is for adults. Turn the kids away. But yeah, so that's what's also curious is like there's definitely a bromance or just like a real, but like not to belittle, if there's
Right.
homosexual attraction, between those characters. And then also there's like real attraction, with their
I can't believe
opposite
you
sex.
said those
Okay.
two words. I can't unhear them.
They've done much
Anyway,
worse. They've done just again, and this is
we ought to
me
tune in.
knowing about it from clips. Like I'm not watching the show, but I know these very intimate details.
That's a
Anyway,
detail.
it sure is. So yeah, I don't know. Like there's a lot of chatter online about like they are the new Alondria and Nick. I don't want
Yeah.
to give them
Yeah.
that
That's who they
name
want to be.
because Alondria is better than Nick. And that's
Here's
again coming from someone. Yeah.
here's what I know to be true. In this particular photo that we're looking at,
Yes, yes.
the one thing I'm obsessed with is he's got that old school 90s comb back. What is that called?
Headband. I don't know
A
what it
headband. No, no,
is.
no. It connects at the back. Like it
Oh,
digs
it's
in
the
and
whole
connects.
one?
Yeah, it's
It's
the
not
whole
just
one.
the first
I don't
the
think
football
so.
player one? I can't tell. I believe you. I know what you're talking about. The like,
I want to get one of those. That
do
I'm
it.
obsessed with. I'm gonna do
Bring it.
that. I'm gonna do that.
You're
It's on
maybe
my
over
to-do
them,
list.
but you're obsessed with
Yes,
90s hair
because
accessories. Yep. Yep.
absolutely. That
I
tracks.
think
Okay.
I think I'm obsessed with it. I want whatever they want. I want them to be happy. I want
I do
everybody on Love
too.
Island. What do they call them? The Islanders? Is that what they
The
refer to them
Islanders
as?
all
Because they're
should,
not
they
the
all deserve a
bombshells
shot. They deserve a shot. Okay.
at happiness, at love. We want
On a freaking
nothing
island.
but good
Yeah.
things for them on that Love Island. Yes. Okay. All right. Well,
Okay. Whew, we did it. We got through it. Today on did we? Today on Volume Up by the Tees, we're joined by Jerrod Roberts. Jerrod is a celebrity hairstylist and men's groomer of 20 plus years, specializing in women's and men's haircutting and styling. His work can be found on red carpets and in publications such as Vogue, GQ, ELLE, Interview, Hunger, and more. Make sure you subscribe, rate, and review, and follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and TikTok at Read the Tees, and send in questions to volumeup@thetees.com. Yeah, I thought you were frozen. Your eyes.
I'm
Okay.
trying not to be like
Okay.
constantly nodding because all of the clips are just like me emphatically, and then people saying, "Why is he
Oh
nodding
my
like
God,
that?"
what is he so excited about? I've said
Trying
this
to be
400 times.
professional.
Okay. Okay. Go ahead. Take it away.
But before we get to my interview, let's talk Tease Beauty news. The first story that we have is quite relevant to this summer season. We
Mm.
chatted with celebrity hairstylist Paul Perez, who breaks down the biggest bridal hair trends of the season. Bridal hair is getting a modern refresh, according to celebrity hairstylist Paul Perez. This season, it's all about timeless styles with a personal twist. Think sleek buns, soft Hollywood waves, polished ponytails, and natural texture that feels elevated but not overdone. Perez says the best bridal hair complements the dress, lasts from
Hmm.
ceremony to the dance floor, and most importantly, feels like you if you're the bride. Whether you are the bride or the stylist behind the chair, these are the trends that are shaping wedding season. Go to the story, read the whole thing on thetease.com. Kelly, of these trends, is there something like if you could do a redo that you might
Mm.
embrace for like
Let
a
me just
vowel
look.
renewal or something?
I'm not gonna do a vow renewal, but let me see here. I think that I would have it all down with like probably the third, well, no, probably the last one where it's
Hmm.
just all down and really smooth and elegant. Sort
Hmm.
of like my photo shoot that I did in the red jacket
Hmm.
because I think that old Hollywood wave is where I'm at.
Yeah, no, I really like a lot of these trends that he's identified, and
I
I
do
think
too.
that that would look great for you. I'm curious if, again, you are a bridal hairstylist, what are the trends that you're seeing? Do you agree with Polly? Do you disagree? Let us know about it. But if you have no idea, check out that piece.
All right. Jeff, nice girls win.
They
The
do.
they do. The quiet power beauty professionals were taught to abandon. We're going to get into it. What if the qualities you've been told to hide are actually your biggest strengths? In this thought-provoking piece, I explore why kindness, empathy, and emotional intelligence aren't career weaknesses, they're leadership skills. Instead of encouraging beauty pros to be louder or tougher, the article makes the case that authenticity, collaboration, and quiet confidence are what truly build lasting careers and meaningful influence. So on point for today with the industry. Read the full story now on thetease.com, but I get into it in the article thinking about, again, it's kind of to the top of the hour that we talked about that feeling of exhaustion or emptiness, right? When after you've had such a busy, bustling day and taking on all of that emotional labor, it hits us. It hits our pro industry pretty darn hard, pretty hard.
Absolutely. It's so important to actually reevaluate things that we've been taught that are not useful for us. And I
Right,
really like this piece because it does exactly that. So it's a nice little roadmap for people to, women specifically, to think about things differently, rethink what they're
right.
thinking, which we can
Let's
all afford to do, I think.
let's think about what modern day leadership looks like. I mean, Schedulicity found that 75% of pros agree that the culture is toxic, but 76 of them still feel pressure to do more.
Mhm.
Those are not numbers that are working for us. They're working against us, squarely against us.
Truly, could not put that better. And yeah, so I think, is this another op for us to talk about the upcoming book? Because you've got some
I
solutions, obviously,
do.
in this piece, which we selfishly want you to read over on thetease.com.
Yes.
But more to come.
More to
Why don't we?
come. Yeah, this just in. I set my drop date for
Mhm.
9/22/26. So September 22nd, it will be available everywhere you purchase a book. You could purchase a book, but pre-sale is going to start in August. So head over to nicegirlswin.com to get on the list to be the first to know.
Do that. Thank you so much to our contributors and our editors like Kelly for this week's beauty news. And don't forget to check out more stories like these over on thetease.com.
Now stay tuned for our interview with Jerrod.
Jerrod Roberts is a celebrity hairstylist and men's groomer of 20 plus years, specializing in women's and men's haircutting and styling. His work can be found on red carpets and in publications such as Vogue, GQ, Interview, Elle, Hunger, and more, working with A-list talent like Hannah Einbinder, Dree Hemingway, Gael Garcia Bernal, Demi Moore, Troye Sivan, Machine Gun Kelly, and Joaquin Phoenix. Jerrod, welcome to Volume Up. How's it going?
Good, good. It's a beautiful day in LA. Really excited to be here.
Don't rub it in.
Big fan of what you guys do, and I feel like you and I have kind of been Instagram friends
Yeah,
for a while now.
yeah,
So,
yep.
so
No,
it's
I'm
nice to sit
really.
down and talk to you.
It is no, I'm so thrilled about this. I'm a big fan of your work, as we all are at the Tease. And so when this one came across my desk, I was like, oh yeah, let's do it, let's do it. I'm really looking forward to getting to know you a little bit better. And for our listeners as well. Jerrod, look, we do this with all of our guests. We ask how the heck you got to beauty. You've been in beauty for nearly 20 years. What brought you into hair? Did you always know? Did it occur to you later in
Mhm.
life? Like, talk to me about what that journey looked like for you.
Yeah. So it's been like 23 years now, which is
Okay.
wild to think about. Um, when I was in high school, I was an athletic trainer, and that was like the thing I did. I was like sports medicine slash water boy. And I had done that all 4 years. And I really thought that's what I was going to go into. And at the end of my senior year, I was like, I can't do this. Like, this is not what I want. And my mother my mother's incredibly glamorous.
Mhm.
She's always had great hair. She has great hair. And I was really close to her hairdresser at the time. Like my mom, because I had to do practices after school, my mom would sign me out of class to go in the middle of the day to get my hair cut so that I could go back and not miss practice. And I developed a relationship with this woman, Kathleen, and we were sitting down my senior year, and I was like, I really don't want to do this. I don't know what I want to do. She was like, I think you would be amazing at what I do. And she's like, I think you should try it. And like basically because of that, on a whim, I decided to sign up for beauty school at the community college in Albuquerque because there was like a scholarship program, so I didn't have to like put 20 grand up right away. Which was amazing.
Those were the days.
I was basically able to pay my way through school. That's how I got into it.
Wow.
And it was first day, first client,
Yeah.
immediately knew what I was doing.
Oh, okay.
And I can remember they pulled my first client and took me to the director of the program and was like, look at what he just did. Which at the time I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. It was just like a pixie haircut. And they were like, you're really good at this. You need to do this. And I will say though, I was the worst beauty school student in the world.
We've heard this before. Why for you though?
So it was a 2-year associate degree program, which took me 3.5 years to get through.
Ooh.
I just wanted to like get stoned in my truck and like not do clients because I was like, I'm not doing this. So I was never in class. I never signed in. I would eventually go, but you know, I remember the director sitting me down and he was like, if I can get you through this, you will be the most successful hairdresser I have ever launched, but you have to finish this. I mean,
pretty annoying. Yeah, and here
he
we are.
wasn't wrong. I'm pretty successful. I'm very grateful.
Casual.
I'm doing okay.
Tell me a little bit about those early days. So you're licensed. You are working. You're building clientele. I'm imagining it was not an immediate transition into red carpets and celebs.
No,
maybe
no.
it was. So tell me about those early days.
Yeah. So I grew up in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and so with school in Albuquerque, when I got out, there was an Aveda salon that at the time had 5 locations and an institute, and they had a training program, and they were the only one in the city that had a training program. So I went to them. They basically what they did is they had a training salon where the new people would be there for 6 months. And throughout the week, you would take clients, but there would be a senior stylist that rotated every day that was there with you to help you walk you through whatever you ran into. And then there were weekly cut and color and style classes. And so I stayed at that salon for the first 5 years of my career. And I was, I kind of quickly realized that like I loved what I was doing, but I was going to be very bored if I was in a salon for the rest of my life.
Sure.
And through that salon, there was do you know who David Adams is? He was one of the creative directors for Aveda pre-Antoinette. And he had a consulting group that came in and worked with salons. And he came into our salon, we worked together, and he sent me an email and was like, hey, I've got this project I'm working on. I really like your look. I think you'd be perfect for this. So they flew me to Minneapolis and I shot a promo video for their brand that ended up being shown at Congress that year. And he and I became friends, and I kind of went to him and was like, look, I love this, but I want to do more. I want to do fashion. I want to do celebrity. I know there's more to this. How do I get there? And so he introduced me. He was like, you got to get out of Albuquerque. It's New York or LA.
Yep.
And so I booked a trip to New York, and he introduced me to Rodney Cutler, and Rodney gave me my first job. Yes. So insane. Rodney was like, great, cool. You're going to have to come assist. And so after 5 years of I was kind of big dog in Albuquerque, I was always super successful. And then going to Cutler and starting over as an assistant was so invaluable because their cutting education was phenomenal. Their styling education was phenomenal. They had a huge Fashion Week presence, which was what took me to them specifically. And so every season for Fashion Week, I would do 12, 14 shows with the team for no money and just for the experience. And it was that I loved that so much, and Rodney knew it. So he kind of told the front desk if any of the hair and makeup agencies called and wanted an assistant for their artists, that I would go do it. And so that's kind of how I got into it. I used to get called out of the salon to go assist people on set. And then, after a couple years of that, an opportunity came along to assist full-time Garen, and I that's how I got connected with Garen.
Wild. So I mean, I've met Garen. Garen is a living legend, as is Rodney Cutler,
Yes.
to be clear. But with Garen, what are there any lessons that have stuck with you? I would imagine that there are. So there's a little bit of a leading
There's
question, but I'm wondering,
quite a
yeah.
few.
What was it like? What are things that have stuck with you over the years?
I mean, I love that man dearly, and I am eternally grateful for him and everything I learned from him, both Rodney and him, but like
Mhm.
Garen specifically, that when you go into a relationship, I was with him for maybe 4.5 years, and it was full time. I mean, we did everything. You become, he's like family, you
Mhm.
know? Uh, the lessons that stuck with me was, for one, was presentation of myself and just like how I existed in the world of hair.
Mhm.
The other one was meticulousness. He is so incredibly organized and clean and everything is perfection with him.
This is true.
And so I was kind of messy, like just in general. And I had to assist somebody who had a system that everything was done the exact same way every time perfectly. And what that did was it drilled into me the necessity of having systems that work. And also, like, it taught me step by step how to get from start to finish, right? Like every we would go through and do wigs before a shoot, and we'd go through the closet and pull everything, and then he's like, I need you to take these 10 wigs home and you need to set them over the next 2 days, and we need them done for this shoot, and I want them set like this and everything. So I had so much experience of like putting these sets in with rollers and curling irons, and really under I think the thing that stuck with me the most is like how to properly set the hair and how to like look at hair, right? Like I remember we did a Calvin Klein underwear job, and the model walked on, and he looks at her, and he takes a spray bottle and sprays her hair down, runs a comb through it, and puts 3 clips in, and is like, okay, you're good. And I was like, wait, what? He was like, it's perfect. Why do I need to mess with it? I don't need to do anything else. And
Hmm.
that was like a light bulb moment to me, was like being able to look at what was in front of me and not necessarily think that I always had to do something to make it better, but if it was see what was in front of me. I think that would be the biggest takeaway.
Oof. An important thing I think that we can all sort of sit with, being present, mindful, and not fucking with things unnecessarily.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty relevant, no matter where you're at in your career. So okay, talk to me about going out on your own. So a number
Okay.
of years working with Garen, different beast when it's you. So what was
Yeah.
that process like?
That was kind of wild. When I left Garen, I actually took 6 months and went and lived in London.
Okay,
And I
doing
was
hair or
meeting
just taking in
I
life?
basically turned my phone off.
Sure.
And like I had honestly, I had my email, Instagram, and Grinder on my phone, and those were the only things I looked at while I was
Essentials. Yeah,
there.
yeah.
And um I was meeting with hair and makeup agencies there, but basically they were like, look, you haven't worked with any London-based people. This
Hmm.
might feel very challenging. And I came back to the States, and one of my really good friends, like best friends in the industry, is Vincent Akindo, who's a makeup artist, Makeup Vincent.
Hmm.
And we had been friends for years. He was friends with me through my assisting. He assisted Pat McGrath. Like we had this kind of common bond of like assisting a legend, knowing what that was like. And he was like, look, I think you need to be in the celebrity world. And he was like, I'm going to introduce you to my old agent at the Wall Group. And so he made the introduction for me at the Wall Group.
Hmm.
And I was actually, I was out here. It's funny, the introduction happened before I left Garrett. I was out here in LA on a job, and we had a couple days in between for production. And I went and met with her, and kind of over the next year, they would field me on jobs, and then they eventually signed me when I got back from London. I came back and decided that that's where I wanted to go. called them up and said, okay, I'm ready to go. And we signed, and I've kind of been on my own ever since.
Oof. So speaking of the Wall Group really quickly, celebrating 25 years,
I
huge.
know.
And I mean, the bench is deep in terms of who they represent. What has it been like to have an agency? Firstly, I think like there's sort of
Yeah.
misconceptions around this
Yeah.
in the space. What is it like to have an agent
I
and
think,
an agency backing?
I mean, I the best thing for me about having an agent is they handle so much of the back end that I am not an email person. I'm a creative. I want to
Yep.
work with my hands. I want to build things. I want to be
Yep.
with people. I don't want to answer emails. They answer my emails. They send my invoices. Um, what else they do is they provide an introduction, right? Like they are a channel to be introduced to publicists, and then the publicists handle the celebrity talent. And
Mhm.
so there, I think the one of the biggest misconceptions is having agency representation will then equal immediate success.
Mhm.
And it's everyone I know who has an agent, we all have the same conversation about how much of this is us. It's our connections, our being on set. You're on set with somebody. I was shooting an ad campaign yesterday, and it was like, I really liked the creative director, right? And so the hope is that you meet these people in a job, they remember you, and then the next time that they need something, they're going to ask for you.
Mhm.
A big portion of my celebrity clients come from makeup artists, because I work with them on other clients. They like working with me, and then they recommend me to their client when they're looking for somebody for their hair. I love my agent. Shout out to Alexandra. I think over the last, we've been working together like 4 or 5 years now. We've had just a stellar couple of years. And I think it's trusting that they are going to know what's appropriate for you. And what's really nice is you get an opportunity, you take it to them, and they're able to make it kind of turn it into something else, or get the most out of it
Yeah,
possible.
I was
Right?
just with Naima LaFond in New York, and she was talking about her agent, who was also with the Wall Group, and the relationship that they've got, and that she's talking to her agent probably as much as she's talking to her mom, and like that
Yeah.
closeness and what's required to really make that relationship work. So really,
Yeah.
hearing what you're saying, talk to me about, as things were happening for you, what did that feel like when you started picking up celeb clients, and you've worked with a bunch, and we're going to get into that in a bit.
Ugh.
But like initial sort
You
of,
want to know the truth?
yeah, no, I do. Yeah.
For the first couple years, I felt like I didn't know what the fuck I was doing.
Okay.
There were many years where I was like, I don't know if I actually know how to do this job. And the thing is, clients were happy. I had an interesting like come up, right? I signed at the end of 2018.
Hmm.
Beginning of 2019, like March, I moved to LA. So there was picking up in New York and then moving to LA and then picking up in LA. And then a year after that,
Oh,
COVID hit.
yup, yup.
And so I had actually had a wonderful 2019. 2020, I went to Sundance. I worked with Demi Moore. I was supposed to be with Naomi Watts. I had a full schedule. I was going into South by Southwest with a full schedule, and then everything ground to a halt. And so it was hard, and it was kind of confusing because I was like, okay, I feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. And
Hmm.
there are all these external factors that are happening, and I don't know how I'm going to be okay. And what they said was like, oh, I was just a year in, and they're like, oh, somebody sent out an email saying, hopefully you guys have like 6 months worth of expenses put away. And I was like, I don't have six
Who?
weeks
Who
worth
does?
of
Yeah.
stuff, you know?
Who among us?
Totally. And so, what was kind of wonderful about the pandemic was when I had moved to LA, do you know Servando Mall?
Hmm. Yep.
Servando. Okay. Love Servando. Servando had a salon in Beverly Hills, and he and I had met, and he kind of knew my background with Garen, and also that I had been a global educator for R and Co. And he asked me, hey, will you come in and help us with our education and do like 1 day a week in the salon while you're trying to like start out in LA? And so through that, I kind of had a small clientele. And
Hmm.
then when the pandemic happened, all those people started calling me for haircuts. And that was like the only money I was making was driving to people's backyards or doing them in my parking lot of my apartment during the pandemic. What's interesting now is like I have for the last 8, 9 years consistently done clients. Like the room I'm in is actually the my salon room
Mm.
in the house. And I have a chair. My clients come to the house now. I do a bunch of house calls still in addition to my red carpet stuff. I think it was really nice to know that I have a skill set that no matter what happens, I'm going to be okay.
Hmm.
Um, so starting out, the first couple years were really tough because there was some external shit that happened that made me go, "What the fuck am I doing?"
Hmm.
And then when we finally came out of the pandemic, like things slowly started to pick back up, and I had a couple lucky breaks and picked up a couple major clients that really opened up my career. But it has not been smooth sailing the whole time, you know?
No, no, that's real. That's honest. I'm gonna ask a little bit more of you
Yeah, yeah,
for people that are trying to break in, because now that you're established,
yeah.
people that are trying to get into celebrity work or editorial, from your POV, what do you think is more important? Is it about skill or is it taste? Do you think everybody can learn what they need to learn? Is there something that they've got to possess in order to be successful? Like, what's your sort of thoughts on all of that?
I think it's both, actually. I think you need to have a taste level or at least a perspective to be
Hmm.
good at this job. And I constantly find myself in conversations where at the drop of a hat, I'm having to pull a reference and
Hmm.
I'm having to go, you know, usually it's showing up to do a red carpet and somebody shows me their dress that I haven't seen before. And I have to immediately go in and be like, okay, what would look good with this? And where is a picture that I can show them of what's in my head? I think with my perspective, my POV is kind of like it's intentional simplicity
Hmm.
in that I want my work to be timeless. I don't want somebody to look back at something I did 10 years ago and be like, that was so
That year. Yep.
2015. I want somebody to look at a red carpet I've done and it be relevant for the next 30 years
Hmm.
and have somebody look at it. And I think that comes from being able to pull the best parts of each of the decades and not like the super trendy parts. You see what the through line is. Um, because I think it's about shape and it's about face framing and it's about how does this complement. I'm always thinking of how do I best frame I work with actresses on the red
Hmm.
carpet. This is
Yep.
the moneymaker, right? Like,
Hmm.
how do I best frame that? Um, I think like I had we did the Golden Globes for Hannah last year,
Hmm.
and Louis Vuitton and her stylist Jamie wanted an updo, and she's got a bob, right? So like
Hmm.
that's not an easy ask. I spent the whole night before
That's
making
not
hair.
effortless.
No, I was making hair pieces and like wrapping hair around buns, and I was like, how am I going to do this? Because I didn't know how I was going to do it walking in.
Hmm.
But I knew the one thing I needed with her was she looks best when her face is framed. I don't I don't particularly love if it's all back off her face, and neither does she. And I know that
Hmm.
walking in, right? So I was like, okay, I'm always thinking about these things going in. A lot of times now I have established relationships, so I kind of know what work on certain clients. But if I go to a fashion week and I get booked with somebody, sometimes
Hmm.
those options come in the night before. So like I'm sitting up, going, looking through their Instagram, combing at what I think looks the best, and then going through my personal archive of where I know to pull from and putting together a mood board so that when I walk in, I'm like, what are you thinking? And then like, hey, this is what I'm thinking, you
So,
know?
can we talk about your archive? Like,
Yeah,
what are you
yeah.
pulling for? I can only imagine, because what you and I have talked about over the years in terms of what you've pulled, it's really interesting shit. So, what is this? Is it a literal, like an actual book that you're pulling? Is it
No, 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 it's
files
just in
on
my
your
brain.
phone? Okay, in your brain. Okay. How does that
Um,
work?
so Again, I go back to Garen because I was the information repository when we were working with him.
Hmm.
I walked around that whole time with a notes app in my phone, writing down every throwaway reference that he made to something,
Hmm.
or he would be like, "You need to look this up. You need to watch this movie. You need to do this." And then I also, at a certain point, ran his social media. And I had access to his entire archive. So I had everything from 75 through 20, well, I was there 2015 through 2018, 2019. So I had all of that, right? And so a lot of, while I was having to go back and look through his stuff, that sent me down these other branches of like, oh, this stylist worked with this person, this photographer, and then I would go and do a photographer deep dive.
Hmm.
So like I like to pull from really iconic fashion images. So like for my men, I'm a big focus for me right now is like grooming. So I focus on old Calvin Klein campaigns,
Hmm.
old Ralph Lauren campaigns, anything Bruce Weber shot, anything that like gives, which I think is very much in my like aesthetic vein
Hmm.
because his was so lifestyle but perfected. um, so I'm constantly like, when I walk into a red carpet, somebody shows me a dress, I think, okay, what's the reference? And I'll go back to like, okay, this was this Dolce and Gabbana campaign from, the late 90s that had like Linda Evangelista in it. And she had that short hair, but it was doing this, right? Or there's that Prada
Hmm.
campaign where she's got the slick bob and it comes down to here. And like, that's the shape I want to create. And then I pull those references and show my client that.
Fascinating. Talk to me about the translation between the vision and the final product. What are sort of things that you've learned over the years that are key? Is it product? Is it vibes? Like, talk to me about
Yeah,
how it all comes together, because it is a bit of an alchemy, and I feel like
totally.
people don't understand that necessarily. So I'd love to sort of demystify that to the extent that you're
Totally,
willing.
totally, totally. I think it's a lot like learning to break down a haircut that your client would come to you with, right? You have to be able to look at the image and see. In a haircut, you're like, okay, where's the graduation? Where's the over direction? How would I create length in this spot? In a red carpet or a editorial image, I'm like, okay, what is the shape created? What is the texture of the hair? And then how does this is the texture I want to create.
Mhm.
This is the movement I want to create within the hair. And then how does that translate to the head of hair that's sitting in front of me, right? Like I think hands down, that is the most important thing you can learn, whether you're behind the chair or you're in fashion or celebrity, is what does this texture, what is this head of hair in front of me? What is it capable of? And how do I get there? And if it's not capable of it, you need to know that and
Mhm.
redirect. And if it is capable, what's the best way of doing that? Doing the least amount of damage that's going to have the most longevity, right? So a lot of it is products, right? Like for women's hair, it's a lot. For me, I do a lot of wet setting. And
Mm.
I think wet setting is something that we have like lost as an art
Yep.
form in our world. It's how do I take this and set this shape in this hair so that it lasts for the rest of the night? I
Mhm.
think everyone wants to do everything with an iron, but there are some hair textures that you hit them with an iron. You can do one pass and it's fine, but it's going to fall out. You can do two passes and then it completely falls out and you lose your ability to work with it. And then you're fucked and you don't know how to take it back from there. So I think knowing that. And then with like men's products, men's hair, it's what's this texture? What do I want to create? Men's, what I love is there's so much less, it's not less thinking, it's less doing. I was brought on as an ambassador for this men's company, Boulevard, and they've got really great products that I don't have to think about, right? Like
Mm.
they've got a salt spray that works on everyone. And like, oh hey, this guy's got curly hair. We're gonna spray this in. I actually used it on a ad campaign I did yesterday. The guy
Mm.
came in with really curly hair. And all I did was wet it down with salt spray, run a comb lightly through it, and then put some clips in, and then had my assistant diffuse it in. And it stayed for the whole day. And everyone on set was like, his hair is amazing. And I was like, actually, it's just knowing how to not overdo something.
So you've worked with, I mean, you've referenced Hannah Einbinder, Dree
Yes.
Hemingway, Ali and AJ, Christian Serratos, Troye Sivan, Joaquin Phoenix, big name. And you talked about Demi Moore, like it's a stacked bench too. How does your approach change with them? So you mentioned again, not
Yeah.
wanting to ever be pinpointed or pigeonholed into like, oh, that looks like 2016 or whatever the hell.
Yeah.
And you do that. All of these people have very different hair, whether it's color, whether it's texture, whether it's shape. Um, how do you sort of navigate this? Because some celebrity hairstylists, not that everybody loves that phrasing, work with a very specific kind of client where they all sort of
Yeah.
look the same, and that's not by accident. But that's not you. So talk
Totally.
to me about that.
Yeah. It's always a case by case basis, right? And it's celebrity glam is a team sport. I
Mhm.
always like to say
Yeah.
it is there's a lot of people involved
Mhm.
sometimes. Most of the time, if I'm working with somebody for the first time, like I said, I will comb their images, whether it be through Getty Images or Instagram, social, and then I will pull my own references going in and be like, this is what I'm thinking. If it's a man, usually that's a little easier because I'm like, hey, I'll pull 4 images and be like, you look really good this way. The question I always start with is, how do you want to look? Like, what do you see for yourself? Um, it's collaborative usually between myself, the stylist, makeup artist, and talent. There are some talent who completely want to drive the boat. They
Okay.
will tell you exactly what they want. Um, and then in that case, you just hope that you can deliver at the highest level possible and give them what they want.
Hmm.
Most times, it is very collaborative and very open. Where I walk in, the dress is hanging on the wall and they go, okay, this is what I'm wearing. They'll show me a picture from the fitting. And I go, okay, I like this. There's this shape in the dress. What if we accentuated that by doing your hair up, half
Hmm.
up? Oh, I love a 60s reference. I love a 90s reference. I love a roller. So I'm like, what if we throw your hair in rollers and brush it out and we get big bouncy whatever, right? Sometimes the reference is really specific. Somebody will show me a picture and be like, I love this texture.
Mm.
um and some clients hair is amazing. You mentioned Dree Hemingway. I've been working with her a lot lately. She's got phenomenal hair, but the thing is, like, it's knowing how not to overwork it. Like,
Mm.
I did her hair last week and it was so simple, but it was also like, hey, how do I just, like, it's almost there. How do I just get it where I want it?
Mm.
Right? Um, Hannah, okay, so Hannah, for example, I've now been working with for like three years. I came on with
Hmm.
her around season 2, and now we're in season 5.
Crazy.
Um, it's in the beginning there was a lot of, I think Jamie needed to know that I was okay. So there was a lot of like, Jamie's like, this is the idea I have. And there was a lot of like, okay, I'm gonna try to execute this as best I can. And then once the trust was there was a lot more collaborative of like, hey, this is, I get send a picture on the group chat. This is what the dress is. What are we thinking? And I would send pictures, and then Molly will send her makeup pictures, and Hannah. Hannah, I really try to encourage all of my clients to like use their voice. The last thing I want, at the end of the day, we are service providers, and the
Hmm.
last thing I want is somebody to feel like their voice is not heard in the space. And I think Hannah does a wonderful job of that, of being like, hey, I loved it when we did this. Or if I do something and we try something new, she'll, sometimes a client will come back and be like, that wasn't great. Let's try something else. And that's like a gut punch, but you also want to, like, hopefully you've developed a relationship enough that they like will tell you and then you get a chance to do it again, you know?
So I want to explore the Hannah thing
Yeah,
because
yeah,
there's
yeah.
been so many different looks,
Yes.
and I want to get to that. But I do want to start. sort of on something you mentioned, which is, the pressure. When you get a client that has a very specific idea, or a team maybe that's in place,
Yeah.
that's got a specific idea, and you got to deliver on the vision that they've got that maybe isn't necessarily yours. Has
Yeah.
that happened often? What has that been
I
like?
wouldn't say it's happened often, but it
Sure, but it's
has happened.
happened. Yeah. Uh,
Um, Very rarely is that client driven. In my
sure.
experience, it's been stylist driven.
Hmm.
Um, I think like I said, this is a team sport, and
Yep.
I have unfortunately worked with some people who forget that and want to come in and this idea of being an image architect
Hmm.
gets thrown around a lot, and they're like, this is the makeup reference, and this is the hair reference, and this is the dress, and this is what we're wearing. And I think it takes the trust out of it. It takes the like alchemy of everybody coming together with all of their own ideas. And like that's what I think is so magic about this experience, is being able to work with everyone. But just like my experience of being behind the chair, sometimes you're going to have a client come in who wants a very specific haircut that you don't think is the right haircut for them. You
Hmm.
can argue that you have a couple choices in that case, right? You either argue with this client and tell them that's not right for you and this is what you're going to do. Which there have been times in the red carpet world, somebody will give me a reference. I'm like, that's not going to happen because her hair won't do that. And this is what
Hmm.
I think we should do. Do you feel comfortable going here? Another time, what you're going to, it, it's that, or sometimes you're like, okay, to keep this person happy, I am going to give them what they want. And if they don't like it, then it's on them. But a lot
Yeah.
of times, like with haircuts, I mean, I had a client when I was starting out who wanted big Farrah Fawcett layers, and this was in 2004 when that was
Mhm.
not happening. And I was like, okay, if this is what you want, this is what makes you happy. And she became like a really loyal repeat client for
Mm,
years.
mm.
Um, so much 90% of my business is relationships and interpersonal relationships. And I think that is the most important skill set somebody needs to get into this part of the business. Um, you can be a bad people person and still have a career, but it's really going to hinder you as time goes. You have to be able to take a note. You have to be able to um, see what the client wants and understand, like, hey, if this is something they need, then I'm going to give it to them.
Mhm.
If I have a relationship with this person where they trust me, then I'm going to leverage that in a way to guide them into something that I think is going to be better for all of us. Um, Unfortunately, sometimes you're put in a position where you have to do something you don't want
Yep. So to that end, time. Often, there's not a lot of it.
to. Yeah,
You might not have the luxury of being able to plan much in advance, particularly, and I'm not suggesting that this is your experience, but in general, you hear about this where, the dress decision was, down to the wire, and
yep,
things have been swapped in, and the game plan changes a little bit. Has there ever been a time where you've been working on a look, and it's just not working before you hit the
yeah,
red carpet? And,
yeah.
and what the hell do you do in those instances?
Um, you know, I like how do I phrase this? Um, Most of the time when I'm doing work, I always say that I feel like what I do comes through me, but doesn't necessarily come from me.
Hmm.
And I love, and most of the time I'm very fortunate that like when I step in to do this, I'm very much in a flow state and it feels easy. And the next step keeps coming into my head, say, okay, now we're
Hmm.
going to do this, or I, I get the vision of what I'm going to do. And then it pops in and goes, this is the order that you're going to do it. Um, but sometimes you don't. And then I think I've found myself in those places when I've overthought what I'm doing and I stop trusting my ability to get there. And then I start second guessing myself. And unfortunately, that's a learning experience of
Yeah.
this world, is sometimes you're going to do shit you don't like. or that you look back on and you're like, that was horrible. Like, I can't believe that that happened. In the moment, you do the best you can and you keep your cool. For me, it's like, I'm going to keep my cool. I'm going to walk myself through it. I try to remind myself that at the end of the day, I'm very good at what I do. I'm one of the best in my business at what I do, and I know that. And this person knows that too. And as long as I can get them out the door and we get to a place where we are both happy, a lot of times, as long as they're happy, I don't care. I can be like, I didn't love that, but
Yeah.
they felt confident going out the door. Great. Um, Going back to what I said earlier, you have to be able to take a note in this business and you have to be willing to do something on someone, have them go to the mirror and go, I don't like this. I want you to do something else, not have it completely deflate your ego, like kill your ability to keep going. Then you have to suck it up and you have to get yourself there. And that's where I think skill, experience, references, all those things come into play because you have to then pull from what you know and what you know you can execute and get yourself somewhere. But yeah, I've had experiences where I was like in the middle of it, go, I don't know what the fuck is going on. I don't know if this is going to end up where I want. I did somebody for an award show years ago, and I look back on that and I was like, oh, that was just not my best work.
These things happen. They happen to even people at the very top of their game.
Yeah,
Let's talk about looks that you do like though.
yeah.
And you've been a part of some big moments on the red carpet that have got a lot of buzz. We've talked about it. What are some of your favorite moments that you've been a part of?
Oh, yeah. You know, I talked about the Golden Globes and that updo on Hannah when she was in Vuitton. That's what they wanted.
Hmm.
It was a challenge, but it like ended up being so good. And she was so sweet. She gave me like a shout out on the red carpet because Jonathan Van Ness had pulled her aside and was like, "We love this. You've never done an updo before. This looks so good." And it was wonderful because in the moment I got into that flow state and was just like, cool. You know, I'm gonna make sure her hair is wet to start with because there's more stretch, and I'm gonna put the ponytail in that way so that I know everything is set the way I want. I'm gonna carve all this out, and then I'm gonna dry the back so I get texture, and then I'm gonna pin that up, and all this works aesthetically and proportionally. Um, Other things that I've done that I really like, I loved her Critics' Choice this year with the finger wave. I thought
So
that was
good.
one of my favorite things I've ever done, ever.
Mm.
And it was made up on the spot when we showed up and I saw the dress and I was like, I think we could do something like this. I think it would be fun. And she was like, cool, go for it. And it's just like as I was doing it, I knew it was working. And there's this moment when the dress goes on and everyone in the room is like, holy shit, that looks so good. You know? Trying to think what else that I've done. I mean, getting into like men's grooming when I figured out how to do skin, that was really cool. When I've like sent some guys out on the red carpet, I was like, oh, that picture looked great. You know? Trying to think what else. I mean, there's been some amazing moments I've been a part of. I mean, as an assistant, I shot Hillary Clinton for Vogue. That was wild. I
Casual.
My first ever solo photo shoot was with Naomi Campbell. That was crazy. I was shitting
I
bricks.
mean,
I
I,
thought I was terrified.
I feel like if you're not though, in the
Yeah,
presence of what's are you living?
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah,
With
yeah,
Hannah though,
yeah.
there's been so many looks over the years, and you guys have really pushed the envelope because the cut hasn't necessarily. I mean, like a little bit of length here and there has changed, but I mean, she's had a bob, and you
Yeah.
really pull out all of these different looks with her. So I'm wondering, like, how much of this is? I mean, you've talked about collaboration. Is it? She's got a wild hair, you've got a wild hair. Like, what does that come down to? Because it never feels like she's. I mean, we talk about effortless. There's always like a sort of breath, like a levity. It doesn't feel sort of forced in any way. But like some of these cuts and styles are what you'd call severe. They
Yeah.
are like blunt. But there's a sort of airiness to it. So I'm curious, like how does this come to be? Because it's you've got, the tape rolls back quite a while in
Yeah.
terms of examples. So I'm curious, how does this come together and how does it stay fresh? Because each time
Yeah.
that she hits the red carpet, I mean, you guys pull out another look, and I'm like, well, damn, like, oh, okay, okay.
Truthfully, it is a little bit of a challenge. Like she has a one length bob and
Hmm.
has had to have a one length bob for 5 years for her
Yep,
show.
yep.
Um, we in between seasons have grown it out, and so it gets to about here, and then we cut it off, which was like the haircut at when she won her Emmy.
Hmm.
That was just out of sheer necessity because she was like, "Hey, I'm leaving to New York in a day." And then I go straight into filming. And I was like, oh, I'm not going to see you. Let me give you your haircut for the show before you go. So she went out with the long hair, which was the flip, and then came back and we cut it all off. Um, for me, it's a lot of references, like, and having to get really creative within, I think creativity flourishes when it is constrained a little bit. When
Hmm.
you're put in a box and you're like, this is what you have to work with, make it do something else, right? I have definitely felt the pressure to um do something different for each award show
Sure. And you do, so
and also stay true to my aesthetic.
Mm,
It's a lot of exploring shape. A lot of my favorite things we've done have been like a perfected round bob with like a point of interest in the front. And
mhm.
like, my thought is like, how do I execute this one simple thing as perfectly as I can? Because that to me is what's going to make the most impact is like something done perfectly, simply, like keep it simple, stupid, but do it perfect, right?
Beautifully
And
put.
yeah, it's been a challenge and it's fun, and a lot of it's collaborative. We're now at the point after 3 years of working together where she can pull up references of stuff that we've done together before and go, I really like it when we did this. Can we do a version
Mm,
of this?
mm.
And it never looks the same because you're not the
No,
hair
but
on the
that's
head.
what's exciting. I mean,
Yeah.
particularly for us, I mean, as fans of your work, like it is a version, as you said, but it's never exactly the same because there are some people where they've got that look and it feels
Yep.
like, the Lego hair, like they pop it on and like that's their thing. And with her and with you, the two of you, it's always a sort of like riff on it, where again, there's like that breathing room, that feels exciting each time. Um, the other thing, I mean, you talked about this, like she's had a bob. She's had a single length bob for a while. I mean, obviously it shifts up and down a little bit. The bob has been a trend, if you want to call it that, for a number of years now.
Yeah.
How do you feel like some of your styles have translated into what is sort of the popular understanding of the bob?
Yeah. It's funny you ask that. I actually think, I mean, I don't like to, I try to stay humble. I don't give myself
That's not
so
what this
much credit,
podcast is
but
about, Jared. Come on.
like I said, I love a roller, and
Hmm.
I've been doing rollers on a bob for years
Uh-huh.
before it was cool.
Yep.
And I think that a lot of what I did has influenced the sort of like taking stuff from the 90s and applying it. I was always thinking Christy Turlington when she had a bob and like
Yep.
how that was blown out in big rollers and how that just fell on I think one of the first noticeable times I did it with her was she was going to Vanity Fair a couple years ago, and I was like, let me just blow the whole thing out on rollers. Trust me on this. She was like, okay. So I set the whole thing in small rollers and we blew it out, and it was just big. It was just movie, and it moved around, and the hair was like, it was loose, but it was beautiful. I
Hmm.
think a lot of that, and then some of the really severe, really pretty, like perfect little like idea of a flip. I think I see that. I see other people do versions of that. I I think it's a small community. We all follow each other. I
Yeah.
do see people do stuff with bobs that I'm like, oh, that feels a lot like what I did on this time. I don't ever want to take full ownership for it.
I
I'm
feel
like,
you. I would agree. No, I would
it's
agree. I
her
mean, and
pretend.
Yeah, there's a bit of, I mean, particularly the rollers. That's popped up in the how-tos that we get, that
Yes.
didn't exist there a couple years back. So I mean I see it. I'll give you that validation. I'm talking about trend in general. What is
Yeah.
something that excites you? Because I mean, again, like your references are not necessarily the current trends, but what are things that you hope sort of trickle up or percolate, that become maybe more popular, or maybe that you'd want to experiment with some of your clients?
Because my background is cutting hair and
Mhm.
I still cut hair to this day, the majority of my red carpet clients, I do cut their hair. And so
Which is unique. Let's if we could put that out there. That is not always the case.
yes,
There's a lot of styling, but the cut's done by somebody else. The color's obviously done by somebody else. So
yeah.
not to go down
And
that
there
tangent
are a
too far,
couple
but
clients that I have who only work with certain people to
sure,
style their hair, and I get
sure.
it.
But by and
No,
large,
yes, but by and large, a good portion of my clients, I do cut their hair. I think, in terms of what I want to see more fun haircuts. I want men to be referencing haircuts of the 70s, right? I want a Peter Berlin. I want kind of that like flippy BGs. I want a very specific like 80s reference on a guy. I like these I think the mullet is cool, right? Like I don't
but
think it's
it's
going anywhere, but it's like very ubiquitous at the moment. And I
yeah.
think if you're gonna do it, you need to have the right reference for it, right? Like let's reference well, I think I saw it called online the like mini truck mullet of the 90s, right? Where all of this is like longer and like more of a square shape as opposed
Mhm.
to this like flippy waterfall. What I want to see is more people express themselves through their haircut and less uniformity, right?
Mm.
Like, I think we aesthetically have gotten into a place where everyone started to look the same.
Mhm.
Everyone has the same face. Everyone puts in the same extensions. It's the same wave on everyone. You know what I really want to come back? I want 90s round barrel curls to come back. I am so tired of the beach wave or the pulled out version of the beach wave. We've done it for 15 years at
It's
this point.
true. No, it's
Like
true.
it
It's
kind
true.
of needs to move on.
Yeah.
And like at this point, everything has been done, right? So like
Mhm.
what from the past was really good? Let's go back to the 90s and like a roller set where everything was done all the way around the barrel and then it comes out and you get a ribbon curl, but it kind of, I don't know, it throws back to the girls next door. Do you remember the girls next door?
Of course we did. Of course. Of course. Yes.
I want
Yes.
Playboy bunny hair. If you're gonna go out on the red carpet, do it big. I kind of love Miley Cyrus for that. I think
Oh,
she
hell
does
yes.
a really good job at being referential and a little campy all at the
Mhm.
same time. And
I
she's not doing what every other girl is doing, which I love. I love for her.
could not agree more. She's honestly her whole team is fucking killing it. To what you got at, about the uniformity,
Yeah.
same face, same extensions, same shapes. Do you think that's Instagram's fault? Like, what's your
Yes, I
POV?
do.
Okay, okay, all right.
Well,
So
I
talk to
do.
me a little bit about that. I mean, because it's so much of what we all do is put our
Yeah.
post up on Instagram. How has that impacted what you've been doing?
Okay, so if we want to get into Instagram, I think it's an amazing tool. Right now, Instagram in my world is your digital portfolio.
Yep.
So that's how I treat it. It's wonderful. It's given me amazing opportunities, amazing financial opportunities,
Hmm.
amazing opportunities to have visibility with clients. I think Instagram is phenomenal. It is a tool. What happened to me though was I was of the generation that was pre-Instagram. I
Hmm.
got into the business before Instagram. And when I was halfway through coming up as an assistant, Instagram hit, and all of a sudden, the people who were, gatekeeping gets thrown around as a bad word, but there for a long time, they were the arbiters of taste. There were people who studied for years and worked in the system and you were vetted to be the best at what you did.
Hmm.
And overnight, that got thrown out with social media. I call it the democratization of taste, where taste got taken from the arbiters who said this is good and told the rest of the people, this is what we're going to do. It got thrown back to everybody, which in theory is a great idea. But what happens is the waters get muddy and the
Hmm.
bar gets lowered, and everybody, I cannot tell you how many times I've shown up on set for a photo shoot and the reference images for the shoot are an Instagram image within the last year. And I'm like, this is not interesting to me.
Yeah.
It seems derivative and it seems, I think what's happened with it is we've lost the ability to look backwards and see what made, like, there's a sense of nostalgia with the 80s, 90s, early 2000s. And I think part of that was we were kind of coming up in a world that was not influenced in the same way it was. But there was a uniqueness to the way people showed up in the world.
Hmm.
And there was this idea that even, you look at older ladies of Society of New York, they were kind of the first to adopt plastic surgery, right? Like one of the first groups. But the old trend was make yourself look like the best version of yourself.
Hmm.
And now it's make yourself look like somebody else. And I see that trickle over into the aesthetics business in general.
Hmm.
I feel like we are so overly saturated with imagery, and the algorithms do such a good job of tailoring your what you see to what you interact with that it really you lose scope of what else is possible. And so, you know, as far as Instagram influencing what I do, I have no problem when somebody shows me something and says, "Hey, somebody was on this red carpet. They looked great. I love this version. I want to do my version of it, interpreted through my lens."
Yeah.
So that's the negatives of Instagram. The positives of Instagram is I think it has given stylists an opportunity to have visibility in a way they never would have.
Hmm.
There are accounts that I follow, stylists that I follow from the middle of the US that I just really love what they fucking do. They're amazing hair cutters. Their vibe is there. They're just doing whatever. I love TikTok for the realness factor, where like I
Hmm.
want to see like a real person who's kind of a little weird doing whatever it is that they do.
Hmm.
Um, I think it's a wonderful opportunity for people like myself as well to get involved um with brands. There's an exposure to brands that you don't have otherwise. I mean, the majority of the stuff that's in my kit has been gifted to me from brands through social media, where they reach out and say, "Hey, we would love to send you stuff." And if I like it, I'm going to throw it up. And then, sometimes like this partnership I have with Boulevard and Co, right?
Hmm.
I got sent their stuff online. I got sent their stuff. I used it. I said, "This is amazing." And through that, we developed a working relationship. And they've asked me to come on and speak about it because I believe in it and I like it. I think it's also given stylists an opportunity. I listen to podcasts about I don't listen to enough because I'm my podcasts are like really out there, like hippie woo woo shit, right? But
Great.
like I
Great.
do listen to stylist podcasts where they talk about the realities of being in a salon right now and
Hmm.
how hard it is for stylists feel like they can't make it if they don't have this specific Instagram presence and if they're not doing the same thing. As somebody who's not in the salon full time, I go and look at stylists in the salon's Instagram, and nobody in particular, just in
Yeah.
general, it all looks the same.
The same. Yeah.
Everything, it's the same wave,
Yep.
the same highlight,
Yep.
the same girl, and you just scroll and scroll and scroll, and it's
The same color
all the
stories, the
same
same
thing.
fonts, the same. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like I think that that's where we fall into a trap of thinking that we need to do what everybody else is doing to be relevant. And I think um, that at the end of the day, you need to know what you're doing and have a point of view. I think a point of view will always separate you from everybody else, and you can just figure out what you like and what you like to do, and then get really good at doing that one thing. I mean, you asked about my aesthetic. That's how, like, I just figured out what I like to do, and that's how I
Mhm.
got there. It wasn't
Yep.
really intentional on my part. It was just like, hey, I like to do this. And then after a while, it's funny because I don't think about it, but somebody like you references, oh, this is what your work looks like. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I guess you're right. I guess that is what that looks like.
Mhm.
So I don't know.
Uh,
Did that answer your question?
it did, and that brought me to this next thing, which is, I mean, you talked about this. You look at things as if there's an opportunity. So it's maybe there's a reference, and then it's like your interpretation of it and what it could be. So I'm
Yes.
curious, Jerrod, what the hell is next for hair and grooming from your thought? Like, what are you again? You're hoping that there's going to be more fun haircuts and
Yeah.
styles, more individuality. What else is exciting to you at this point in your career?
Yeah. I think what's exciting to me at this point, what I want to see more of, like short term, what I think I would like to see is the return of fun haircuts from. I also love in the grooming space, I love that the stigma around skincare, color correction, a little bit of foundation has kind of gone away. Like you've got
Thank
these
God.
straight boys on
Yep.
on
Put on makeup.
TikTok putting on makeup.
Yep.
I mean,
Which was never a thing 20,
no,
30, like never could we have imagined that it would be
no.
totally
Do you
normal and
remember the
fine and encouraged.
metrosexual thing when
Right. It
like
was
guys
a
got
curse,
their eyebrows
kiss
shaped,
of
they were
death. Yep.
metrosexual.
Yep. Yep.
And now you've got guys of all ages, ilks on just out in public trying to take care of themselves. That
Hmm.
excites me. I love that the stigma around men taking care of themselves has moved on. In terms of hairdressing, I I would love to see the return of the big salon. I don't know if it's going to happen. I just got to have that experience and I
Yeah.
was really grateful for it. The idea of being surrounded by people who had been around for decades and knew how to do shit. If you ever ran into something you didn't know how to do, you walked over to so and so's
And they knew.
station, you were like, "Hey, I got this thing. What do you think I should do?" You go in the back room, you're like, "Hey, what do I do?" I do that in my world. When I don't know how to do something, I call I'll call my friend like Marty Harper. Do you know Marty?
Hmm.
Marty Marty was one of the first people I assisted when I was in New York. And when I was like getting into this whole thing, and he's still a dear friend, and I'll call him and I'll be like, "Hey, I'm thinking of doing this thing. Like, how would you do this?" And I think that's so valuable. Um, you know, big picture with the advent of AI and kind of, I think that's going to change the online landscape because I do think people are eventually going to move out of sort of full-time social media bubbles. I think like
Hmm.
Instagram will continue to be a digital calling card, which is what I think it should be. But I
Hmm.
do think it's going to force people back into real life. And I do think that we have an opportunity as an industry to really focus on what it is that we do, especially because hairdressing is the one thing they cannot automate. They would like, I'm sure at some point it'll get there, but it's not getting there
Not
anytime soon.
now. Yeah.
Not now. We
Yep.
are, I saw a thing that said we were like 99% automation proof, you know? And I think that we're going to have a huge influx of people coming into the industry. I think it's really valuable to realize that at the end of the day, what we do, whether it is me working on an A-list celebrity or me just cutting, you know, Tim, the dad with three kids who lives in Mara Vista, cutting his hair. It's all about people. Like we are in a people business. We are working with people. At the end of the day, that is the most important thing. Even if, you know, I think the social media opportunities are wonderful, but I do think you got to be really good at this part before
Mm.
the rest of it builds onto that.
Perfectly said. Look, we taken up a ton of your time. We're going to do our quick takes, then we're going to let you get back to doing all of the things that we admire you for. Jerrod, these are the questions we ask of all of our guests. Don't think about it for too long,
Okay.
and then we'll let you go. First
Cool.
question. If you could instantly master one skill, what would it be? And obviously, it does not have to be specific to hair at all. Any skill.
Yeah, I would want to know how to make clothes. I would want to know how to sew.
Hmm.
Like I find clothing fascinating and just like the construction of like these amazing dresses, like Schiaparelli
I feel like
blows
you
my
could
mind.
figure it out. Like hair
I
cutting.
definitely think
Yeah,
I
yeah,
could.
yeah. Okay, so That's not
I
maybe
bought
an
my boyfriend
aspirational
a
skill, but
sewing machine, and I might have to pull it out and use
yeah.
it.
Okay, well, we want that for you. What is your current go-to song or album? You were talking about hippie shit. Are we listening to hippie music?
No, I pretty
No,
much listen
good.
to mostly EDM. Like
Hmm?
I love like my car is like a party, but I will say the new Harry Styles album is probably my current album I'm listening to.
Okay, okay. What is a haircut or color trend that you are secretly obsessed with? Maybe you wouldn't admit, but here you are, hopefully going to admit it.
You you know what I want to come back so bad? Do you remember that like double that like black on the bottom, blonde on the top?
Oh, hell
That like
yes.
2004, 2005. I want that to
I
come
dream
back.
about it. Yes. Perfect.
That and
Perfect.
emo hair. I was an emo kid. I have like a
Scene
brand new
hairs, if on
scene
certain
hair.
corners of the internet, it's back. We're
Oh,
seeing
I
like Gen
know.
Z asking for these crazy things where it's like in 2002, that's just what people were doing.
Uh-huh. I'm
I
like
love
a
it.
retired scene kid. I have a brand new tattoo. Yeah. Okay.
Real ones will know. If you could do a dream celebrity client's hair for a day, who would it be and what would you do? And again, you've worked with some of my dream celebrity clients, so who's a dream celeb for you?
You know who my like dream celeb is like I want another client who is just about to explode. I
Mm.
that is my favorite thing to do when somebody is in the process of coming up and they get a new team and they show up as a new person. So like, you know who Aubrey Hobart is?
I
She's like
do.
a musician.
Yep.
I think she would be so cool to like give a vibe to.
Primed
Um,
for a hair makeover.
I
I
mean, she does. I
It's
think
great.
she's
No,
just
it's great now to be, but
no, totally. But like
yeah,
at some point in the future, like
yeah,
I want to
yeah.
like
I
present
see it.
is yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay. Last question, we'll let you go. A tiny thing that made you smile this week. And we got into some heavy stuff on this pod, so we'll leave you with something lighter. What's making you smile?
My pets. I have two
Perfect.
cats and a dog.
Perfect.
I adore them. Yeah.
Well, Jerrod, it's for me a real pleasure to have been able to chat with you, pick your brain, and I'm sure our listeners are going to feel the same. Thanks for coming on, and we'll be in touch. I mean, you've got so many more looks in you that we're going to be bothering you about to share how tos, and I'm sure you'll be back.
Well, thank you so much again for having me. It's been great.
We talked about it on the pod. Like I've
Yeah.
been following his work
Yeah.
forever. So it was such a treat to be actually be able to connect with him and to talk a lot about some of the looks that we've covered over the years, particularly his work with Hannah Einbinder, of whom I'm such a fan. And her hair is always incredible. What a fun time.
What a fun time. Be sure to hit subscribe, rate, review, and follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and TikTok at Read the Tease, and send in questions to volumeup@thetease.com.
Volume Up is the Tease Media production. This episode was produced by Monica Hickey and Madeline Hickey. James Arbach is our editor and audio engineer. Thank you to the creative team for the custom Volume Up theme song and for putting together the graphics and videos for this episode.